Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, the bad guys win the Splatfest. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I am joined, as I am always joined, by Mark Mitchell, my co-host. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including some more details on how Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 came to be. And then on Thursday, we are going to be ranking the Mario characters into tiers with Jen Kleinrock. But in the meantime, Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great, Patrick. Happy to be here. Feeling good.
Yeah, we're feeling a little loose. We're recording the episodes out of order right now. So, we got that little it's late in the night pressure. And we're just getting started on the news episode. Does it feel weird? I feel weird.
A little like crisscross.
Yeah,
like
that's
our
right.
clothes are backwards or something.
Right, or like I'm murdering your mother on the train and you're murdering my wife?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I'm not actually sure how either of those movies work.
Wait. Crisscross, I was not talking about a movie. I was talking about the band.
Oh, you were talking about
the singers who wore their clothes backwards.
I was talking about both
Strangers on a Train
and Throw Mama from the Train. It's talking about both these movies.
Wait, is Throw Mama from the Train like a comedic retelling of Strangers on a Train? Or no?
I mean, but he's inspired by Strangers on a Train.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie for a very long time.
Danny DeVito sees Strangers on a Train and he's like crisscross. He keeps saying it. So when you said crisscross to me, I did not think we'll make you jump. I thought, let's throw Mama from the train. We have got a lot of good stuff to get to today. But first, a little bit of an announcement or some housekeeping here. We are heading into the holiday season here, Christmas, which means that our schedule remains totally the same. We will continue to put out 2 episodes.
We are freaks.
That's right.
Super freaks.
Super freak. That one I'll jump right on top of. Crisscross though. Yes, you need not worry. We will be here with only a slight modification to what we normally do. Next week, the week of Christmas, we are watching the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993, starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, and Samantha Mathis. So if you have any way to watch this movie, you should. We do an episode, a pre-movie episode on Tuesday, and then a post-movie episode on Thursday.
But we found that this movie's a little bit hard to come by.
You cannot rent it on iTunes. You cannot rent it on Amazon. Mark thinks maybe you can find it at a Walmart bargain bin. But look, if you would just like my copy of it, I bought it on DVD so that we could record an episode about it. If you would like my DVD, just write into us. The first person who writes in and says, hey, give me that DVD, here's my address. Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. I will send it to you.
And here's a fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all signed it.
Yes. The 2 of us and our secret mystery guest, who we'll announce next week, all signed it. And then you can just own this thing forever. Plus, you can play along and actually watch this terrible movie. Otherwise, I'm not sure how you do it. You have to spend the $4 to order it on Amazon.
Do you know what you'd have to spend even more than $4 to order on Amazon in order to get?
What's this?
Sonic Forces. Can you believe this game is still like $40?
I cannot believe that Sonic Forces is still $40. If you would like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces, you can write in also to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com with your address, and I send it to you and you send it back to me. It is currently out in the wild. I don't know where Sonic Forces is or if it's ever coming back.
And here's a cool thing is that when Patrick sends it to you, he includes return postage.
Right. This is one that I actually would like to get back. I'm not sure why at this point. Which do I prefer, the Super Mario Brothers movie or Sonic Forces? That'll be a topic for a different episode, I think. Here is one more thing you can do with that email address, which again is Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. We are going to be attempting the impossible. We are going to rank franchise contributions to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Mark, I continue to play this game a lot. Are you continuing to play this game a lot?
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of content in here. And we want to determine who is giving the most, best, good, meaningful stuff to this game.
Is it the Mario series? Do they contribute the most just because they're the foundation of Nintendo? What about Fire Emblem? You
Yeah.
can't spit a dead rat without hitting a Fire Emblem character in Ultimate.
And I'm always spitting dead rats. And look, there can even be some Dark Horse candidates in here, because for as little as Metal Gear is represented in the characters, a lot of the most interesting spirits in the game are Metal Gear spirits. The boss from Metal Gear is like the be all end all spirit who's awesome. So like, it's subjective. Make your case.
Kirby, I'm just throwing it out there.
Kirby's another great one. Write in, make your case, Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
All right, Mark, let us get into what we have been playing this week. Mark, can I tell you something that arrived for me this week?
Please.
My NES Online Nintendo Switch control. I don't know what to call these things. They're the Switch controllers that look like the NES controllers that just slide onto the side of my Switch.
That are Nintendo Switch Online
Yep.
member exclusives.
That's right. They arrived over the weekend, and then I got an email today saying your controllers have shipped. So I don't know what's happening there.
So I got an email like 2 weeks ago or something, maybe last week, saying that they were shipped. And then I, over the next hour, received that email 4 additional times.
Okay, so Nintendo's on top of it, is what you're saying. So if you got your email about this, great. If you got your controllers, also great. And if you got them in not that order, also fine.
Crisscross.
Crisscross. It's driven me back to the NES Online, which with the recent additions this last week of The Adventures of Lolo, Wario's Woods, and Ninja Gaiden, I said last week has an actively good library at this point. So I spent a lot of time playing The Adventures of Lolo, which is simultaneously harder and more fun than I remember it being. But just a really great game, and especially with the save states, because so much of that, like the puzzle solving in that game, is failing and then like trying again.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever played The Adventures of Lolo, but after you talked about it last episode, I tried it out this week, and I was totally setting a save state as soon as I made it to the next level.
Right.
So I could try it over and over again.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to do it, because like there are, and I had forgotten a lot of like just where like the danger comes from in this game, and it's there are these like little heart things all over the screen, and you have to collect them all and then open a treasure chest and move on to the next level, and the danger becomes like tenfold as soon as you collect that last heart. So like you have to spend a lot of time just sort of setting things up just so you won't get blown away when you collect that last
and
little
also
piece.
the early levels, there's a lot of just like, what does this enemy do? So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like walk up and they like spit something at me and I die.
Right. Or, this one just like sticks me in a corner and I can't move. So yeah, there's the save states on there. And even without them, the game is pretty generous with where it respawns you. It can be a little bit tougher in later levels when you're in like the third or fourth like level of the kind of chapter,
Castle?
whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Floor maybe. And you lose all your lives and have to go all the way back to the beginning, but you got save states now, so that's much better. There's also the Dr. Mario SP. Did you mess around with this at all?
I briefly, because
That's really all you can do.
it puts you at
Level
20 on hard, basically, so you can finish it and see the little UFO cutscene
Yeah,
that there is.
that's and that's even what like the description says is like this is right here, so you can see a thing that no one else ever sees. Which I think you and I did a whole episode about what SP like versions of these games could be, and I think we missed the boat on what they actually are. Because I think we wanted them to be something more like addressing fundamental like problems.
Deficiencies where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, here's a way to get into this retro game that you may not necessarily play because it's otherwise too impenetrable.
Yeah, and this is really more like it's just setting up a scenario where you can do one specific part of the game, which is kind of cool, but also not like it's not substantial, right?
I mean, I probably would have I never would have seen this cutscene in Dr. Mario otherwise. And like there's also a Metroid SP this week,
right.
and it puts you at the end so you can fight Mother Brain.
So it's not actually at the end to fight Mother Brain, it's right in front of Ridley's door. So you go in and you fight Ridley, and you're maxed out with like energy tanks and missiles and stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
So and I mean, like if you wanted to go right to Mother Brain, you could do the Justin Bailey code, and basically have that experience. But it seems like both of these, both the Dr. Mario and the Metroid one, are set up just to give you one specific sliver of the game, which is fine. It's just so limiting. It's like NES Remix, which was like hundreds of these vertical slices of classic NES games that let you experience like all of the best parts of Kid Icarus, or just all the best parts of Excite Bike, and then like string them together in a challenge that made sense and was compelling, and you earn stickers. And this seems like a lot less engaging version of that. If all of this was wrapped together and like all of the games in the NES Remix were all like in one awesome package, it would be killer. So that you could either play through like parts of games or like, oh, forget it, I actually had fun with that, I'm going to play all of Super Mario Brothers 2. Like that would be a killer app, I think.
I've also I played like a little bit of a bunch of different games.
Yeah.
Like I've been playing Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which had an update. One of the notes in the update was they reduced the difficulty of challengers.
Okay.
And I am definitely feeling that because it is much easier to defeat a challenger and like have them out of the roster. But that really is like, I checked out the Spirit Board after you explained to me what it was.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying that a lot now.
Yeah, great. The Spirit Board or the World of Light?
Spirit Board specifically.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's cool. I ran into the boss on the Spirit Board, and she destroyed me. It's a stamina match against Zero Suit Samus, and the floor is like poison or something. And I don't know, she's just like so much stronger than you that like every time she hits you, it knocks like 30 health off, and every time you hit her, it's like 0.4. But yeah, I like that Spirit Board too.
And then played some like Super Mario Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
Jumped into Stardew Valley for a little bit. One thing that I haven't played but is on my Switch as of this recording.
Katamari Damacy?
No, I did play the reroll demo.
Oh, okay.
But it's super short. But fun. I think I want to pick up the full game. No, we Firewatch came out on Switch.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday as of this release, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I did pick it up partly because we got an email from listener Katie, who wrote into us this past week saying, "Hello, you two. I urge you to pick up Firewatch and give it a try. That is all. Best,
yes.
Katie."
And Katie, you should know that when someone, look, if there's nothing else that Mark and I love, it's being told what to do. We both responded super positively to this.
So I definitely picked up Firewatch this morning when it became available on the Switch eShop. Also, small shout out to Lizzie, who has never heard of Horse Armor.
Yes, thank you, Lizzie, for writing in to let us know that you have never heard of Horse Armor. That helps. I'm glad to know that. We asked people to write in and say whether or not they'd heard of Horse Armor. I also picked up Guacamelee 2, and have only played it for about an hour. Weirdly slow start to this game. It's the story of Juan from Guacamelee, like 7 years in the future. He's become like older and fat, and it spends maybe 20 minutes like sort of establishing that reality to then like take it away. But Guacamelee, like I don't really need to have things established for me. I just need to get into like a nice Metroidvania where I'm punching stuff and seeing, you know, funny things written in the background. So I am sure that I will love this game when I get, you know, into it at full speed. But right now it's feeling a little bit like I've got to actually get up to full speed. So I'm sure we will check back in with both Guacamelee and Firewatch after the holiday. Mark, let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing over the next 2 weeks.
Donut County is out today. We talked about it a little bit last week. It's like a mobile game that is making the leap to Switch. I still don't know really anything about it except you're a raccoon and maybe you have a motorcycle.
You're a raccoon who controls a hole, and the hole swallows thing. The hole gets bigger. It's supposed to be a pretty short experience, all things told. But when time is precious. Mark, let me ask you this: when is Killer Queen Black coming out?
I think you're right. I think it is not happening this year unless it's like a stealth release the week of Christmas or something like that.
See, it feels like a missed opportunity to not have it out by the holidays, because I think Killer Queen Black is an accessible enough game that people could show it to their families and play it with them. And that's just not going to, if people aren't, I'm imagining everyone has my life where you're traveling over Christmas and you are seeing your family for the first time in months, and you need something to do because you realize the only things you can talk about are the weather and what you're going to eat later. So that's what I'm imagining, and this seems like a missed opportunity for that.
Missed opportunity for sure, but like I guess a game is ready when it's ready.
For sure.
If Pocket Rumble taught us nothing else, R.I.P. Pocket Rumble.
Did it die?
Might as well have. We were so excited for it, and then it came out, and it's just like, huh.
Yeah, it ended up being harder than I wanted it to be.
Other than that, kind of a quiet week for new releases.
Which I think makes sense, right? We are to the point in the year where people aren't trying to sell new things, right?
They're trying to sell old things.
And by
more of them.
And by old things, we mean things that came out 2 weeks ago.
Things that currently exist.
All right. Nothing else on that list of any. There's nothing else on that list. All right, Mark, let's close out the segment. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, today you have posed a question.
Yeah, what is your favorite hour, a specific 1 hour block in any day,
right,
that is your favorite?
So I don't know that I currently have one. I have like a historical answer that is from all of my time growing up in Wisconsin, just on the other side of the Illinois border, where we would get the TV feeds from both Chicago and Milwaukee, right? Which means that at 5 o'clock, from 5 until 6, both of these like different syndicates were broadcasting The Simpsons, 2 episodes of The Simpsons each, which means between 5 and 6, there are 2 different opportunities to choose between 2 different episodes of The Simpsons. And I understand this is totally unremarkable now in 2018 and even maybe like 10 years ago. But at the time before even like the Simpsons DVDs were out, this was huge for me. And especially at that point in my life, The Simpsons was such a big part of establishing what I value in comedy and art, that having the ability to pick between 2 and like just make sure, like that's how I saw the first like 8 years of the show, was in this hour between 5 and 6. So I think that will forever in my heart, 5 and 6 p.m. Central Time, of course, is just perfect for me.
My retro answer would be the time Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. during the summers. That's when Matlock would be on the Fox affiliate. And me and my siblings and my mom, we loved Matlock.
Now, how were you watching Matlock Monday through Friday?
During
the summer. During the summer. Got it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was on the rest of the year, but this was the time when we were off from school.
That's what it matters.
And could watch it.
Yeah.
My mom really likes mystery, like novels and stories, and so we grew up around kind of like suspense, like Hitchcock films.
Someone's
and
always
like
being murdered.
all that kind of stuff. And so Matlock was perfect.
Yeah.
Because mystery was wrapped up in an hour. For like 6-year-old me, it was scary enough that you didn't want to go swimming at night in case somebody like dropped a hair dryer in the pool or something like that.
Plugged in.
Well, sure. I mean, yes. Was it a bathtub in Matlock that
Probably,
a hair dryer
yes.
got dropped into? But a pool is a bigger body of water, so that's even scarier to have a hair dryer dropped into.
Plus, you're a kid, you don't really know.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that you have a favorite hour now as an adult?
Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. because it's early enough that the day is full of possibilities, but also early enough that I don't feel like doing anything most of the time.
Okay,
so it's like I'll get to the things I want to do / need to do this Saturday.
Right.
But for right now,
Oh, Saturday.
yeah, I'm doing nothing.
Okay, I thought at first you said Sunday.
Oh no, Sunday in general is just
It's a wash.
yeah,
Right. Sunday, even if you're like doing things you like all day,
the creeping dread.
the creeping dread of the week. Yeah, that's a bad time. I tell you what, 5 o'clock on Friday.
Feeling pretty good.
Feeling pretty good about 5 o'clock on Friday. These are the daddest answers that we could be giving about right now.
We're basically dads without the kids.
Yeah, which I'd recommend, by the way.
Amiibo can be your children.
That's they have to be. No one else will love me. I do. So I've been kind of sliding out of it the last couple weeks. But I used to be a real morning guy. That I would, especially when Retcon Punch was going real. Oh
man, I guess we'll never know.
Never know the end of that anecdote. We were accompanied today by the pianist Armin Fuchs. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
Nintendo surprised everyone by announcing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 as a Switch exclusive at the Game Awards a few weeks back.
Very surprising.
Developed by Team Ninja, no less. After the show, IGN asked Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé how such a weird, seemingly random confluence of events came to be. And he responded, quote, "What happens in the world of development is you have companies who have positive experiences in working together, coupled with franchises being available, and the franchise owner wanting to do something with a particular franchise. And in this case, those three elements came together in order to create the opportunity for that game. And we love that. And we're constantly looking for those types of opportunities. It's the Team Ninja portion of Koei Tecmo that's working on this. They've got a lot of skills, and it really helped paint a picture of what that game is going to be. We're tremendously excited about it."
Does that clarify anything?
It does a little bit to me, because we know that Team Ninja and Nintendo have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
Thanks to Metroid Other M. And we talked a little bit when this game was originally announced that Marvel recently got a lot of its licenses back.
Yeah, for game publishing reasons, yeah.
And so it doesn't surprise me that they would be... This is a known quantity, the Ultimate Alliance franchise, so that they would be walking this out to different publishers or developers to see who would be interested in licensing it. And so, yeah, I mean, it does kind of seem like the perfect storm for something Nintendo might be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, this is, I guess, a little bit of a digression here, but, Disney's whole relationship with their properties and video games right now feels very kind of strange, or sort of antithetical to how I view Disney, right? That they are to the point where they are basically farming all of it out. They're very protective of their brands internally and in the mediums that they present them in. We're not going to see another movie studio make a Marvel movie, right? But the Marvel games need to be made by someone that's not Disney. Disney games don't exist on the same level that something like Team Ninja or Nintendo or Square or any the studio that made Spider-Man. It doesn't matter. but yeah, that they're sort of like farming all of that out. And like if you look at Star Wars, that's all being handled by EA right now. Um, it's just very interesting to see them taking their properties and being like, okay, now this game studio gets a shot with them. Now this game studio.
Yeah, Disney's in the past like 15, maybe 20 years has been very cyclical when it comes to video game development. They licensed a bunch of titles and then like 15 years ago decided to bring it all in house, and that's when they bought a lot of developers like Avalanche Studios,
Yeah.
and they had Warren Spector making the Epic Mickey games, and they were like, yes, we're all in on this. We
Yeah,
are
and
going
that's
to
when
develop
Disney
our
Infinity,
own games.
Yeah.
And then Disney Infinity was kind of like the tail end of that. Disney they got rid of Avalanche Studios. They got out of the game business again, and we're back in this like licensed kind of like period where Disney doesn't want to be in the video game business because they haven't had a lot of success internally developing video games, and it doesn't really fit what they're good at. It's like they don't make their own toys; they let a toy company license.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how they view video games. They haven't been successful at making video games. The organization really isn't like set up for something like that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if their priorities are on like storytelling, that's not necessarily going to fit into what will make a good video game, especially a good like Disney video game. You're not going to play a Mickey Mouse game for the great storytelling. You're going to, I guess, I mean, why do you play a Mickey Mouse game? I guess I don't really know.
And video games are also like a really expensive business to be in, and they take a really long time to develop. And if they're a success, awesome. But when they do poorly, it's a very costly venture.
Yeah.
And so I think like the math just doesn't make sense for them right now.
Yeah. Well, I also wonder if there's something to like since games take so long to develop that it's hard to have like any synergy with them. Like there's no way that you can put out a Wreck-It Ralph game like to release with Wreck-It Ralph. Like the schedules for the production on these things are so different.
Well, and it does happen. Like you had like an Incredibles 2 game, but that's all like licensed, farmed out titles. They don't really have the quality maybe that we would come to expect
from Disney. Yeah.
They do some development in house, like mobile game development and stuff.
Yeah,
but for the most part, they've given up on console and PC gaming.
Yeah, and that Incredibles game, that was a Lego game, right?
Maybe there was also like a Cars 3 that was just like a regular like Cars like racing game. So they still exist, but
they're not prestige products.
Yeah, and there's also just less of a like middle market in video games now.
Yeah, sure.
Asked if we could see the first 2 Marvel Ultimate Alliance games show up on Switch. Reggie declined to say anything, but me just projecting, seems like that would be in Activision's court, or maybe they don't even own the license anymore and it's with Marvel, but because it was published and developed by Activision, that it becomes like a really messy rights quagmire.
Is that the kind of game where that like an earlier version of it would be something that you'd actually want to revisit?
I don't think so. I mean, especially the second one, was around Civil War.
Yeah.
But it was more loosely based on the comic book Civil War and not the movie that came out a few years ago. I don't know if they've aged that well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is just like a certain class of video game that I feel like the next one is always the better one. And, like if someone were to start, if Nintendo were to start releasing like classic Mario Kart games, like that's an interesting curiosity, but like, why would I ever not play 8 Deluxe?
Yeah, and the last game in the Ultimate Series came out in like 2009, so
yeah, it's
been a long time.
It will have been 10 years by the time it comes out.
Could the Switch eShop be renamed the Nintendo Switch Online Shop? Well, we live in a universe of infinite possibilities, so yes, it's possible, but there's actually reason to think that it might be happening soon.
Mm-hmm.
In a court filing against a person accused of selling NES Classic Editions and Switch consoles with pirated games installed, Nintendo included reference to the Nintendo Switch Online Shop, noting that it was formerly the Nintendo eShop.
Okay, so Nintendo eShop, we're saying that name is possibly a thing of the past,
mm-hmm.
and the Nintendo Switch Online Shop is its new.
would be the branding.
Okay.
So who knows? But if this were to happen, do you think that the rebranding is part of a larger shop overhaul, or do you think it's more just like a name change, like when they changed the games on sale section to be called Great Deals or whatever?
I wonder if it actually spells the end of the 3DS, because it shares the same name, Nintendo eShop. Or I wonder if they're going to make a bigger distinction between the 3DS online store and the Switch online store.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. You are able to share currency between the two.
And Wii U, for that matter.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's gained by doing this, but
Maybe they just don't like. I mean, to be fair, eShop is an antiquated like way to name a thing, right? We just assume that if you can buy something, you can buy it online. So the eShop, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe they just realized that they had been using old terminology forever, and we're like, hey, let's update that.
Patrick, I'm happy to inform you that the year is ending on a high note
Ah,
because Play Asia, the Japan-based import website that people probably shouldn't be patrons of, thanks to their kind of like gross politics. But they added a listing for a gold Shovel Knight amiibo.
oh,
Which
what?
I mean, there's literally no other information available, but a gold Shovel Knight amiibo, maybe.
So that's funny because there are only two other gold amiibos, right? And one is Mario, so that one like just makes sense. Mario can do whatever, and the other one is Mega Man. And if there is one set of characters that Shovel Knight is modeled after, it is Mario plus Mega Man. So that makes perfect sense. Why don't we like Play Asia politically?
Oh, so they've in the past pretty much like aligned themselves with the Gamergators.
Oh, that's
And
a
they
problem.
use like terms like social justice warrior as an attack.
They use it unironically.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well,
So
what are you gonna do?
not shop at Play Asia.
Yeah, that seems right.
Did you know that the Super Smash Brothers logo has meaning?
You mean more than just signifying a product that I am interested in purchasing?
Yes. In a recent interview on Nintendo of Japan's YouTube channel, series director Masahiro Sakurai explained that the intersecting lines of the logo are meant to represent the fact that it's a crossover series, and the lines create 4 distinct sections like the 4-player multiplayer of the early entries in the series.
Interesting. And they're also like that circle shape, which is sort of the port on the controller ports on the Nintendo 64.
Is that what they look like?
Or yes? I want to say yes. It's also the same as the GameCube. Am I imagining the GameCube? What does a Nintendo 64 controller port look like? Aren't they like little
U-shapes, kind of?
I feel like they're just round little circle holes, but I know for sure that I am picturing GameCube controllers.
Well, nobody look it up.
No one look it up. Well, I will never know.
Speaking of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, this past weekend was Splatoon 2's Global Splatfest, asking players to side with either the game's roster of heroes or lineup of villains by joining appropriately enough Team Hero or Team Villain. Team Hero was the more popular choice, but Team Villain took the win 2-1 thanks to winning both the normal and pro battles.
And again, there's no way for us to check these numbers, so
Somebody has their thumb on the scale.
They might. We would never know. Mark, did you participate in this Splatfest?
I didn't. I was busy playing actual Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It seems like that's just. Can they do a Splatfest in Smash Brothers? Would that be okay?
That'd be fun.
Whoever inks the most turf as the Inklings in Smash, that'd be good. I'd play that.
Mario voice actor Charles Martinet has been awarded a Guinness World Record for the most video game voiceover performances as the same character, currently about 100 games. He's been playing the voice of Mario for 30 years.
That's a lot of games to have appeared in and a long time to be playing the same character. Does it seem a little like, obviously, he's done the voice a lot of times, and he's recorded a lot of...
But it seems a little low, right?
Well, that only 100?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. It
But
does feel sort of low.
It also makes sense, like 100 games in 30 years. Lots of games per year.
Yes, that's true. But the question that I was going to drive at is how many hours of Mario sound do you think there is in even like the most Martinet heavy voice recording? Like how
Like how much? Like
2
hours of
hours?
voice sample? Yeah, I would guess like around 2 hours.
cuz
90 minutes.
cuz like I've listened to Joel from The Last of Us talk for like 30 hours it feels like. I mean, I'm not saying that Martinet is doing a bad job, or I don't mean to diminish his role as the voice of Mario at all. But like, it seems as though he is doing less than someone who is voicing a character in, say, Dragon Age
How dare you
or Mass
impeach
Effect.
the Guinness World Records?
Guinness is all about showing you an impressive number. Are they going to show you all of the important context around whether the number is actually as impressive as they're making it out to be? Or are they just going to say 100 games in 30 years?
Look, I hate to sound like a broken record, but we should start our own trade organization that
That's
hands
right.
out records.
Wait,
And we
it's-
can have-
it's records now?
It could be both.
Okay,
It could be an
great.
award show and also celebrating accomplishments. We can provide the context, the Guinness World Records.
Refuses to.
Cowards.
And look, I don't want to slag Guinness too much because, nope. I was about to say something, but I was going to attribute it to Guinness, and really what I'm thinking of is Ripley's Believe It or Not. And these are two different organizations. I was going to say they've got that cool dinosaur on Hollywood Boulevard. That's Ripley's.
Suck an egg, Guinness.
That's right.
Finally, from NPD Group analyst Matt Piscatella, we have the top 10 best-selling GameCube games in North America. Like we did a few weeks ago, do you want to guess what they are, Patrick?
Sure. So top 10 best-selling GameCube games in North America. Resident Evil 4.
No, not even in the top 10.
Not even in the top 10. The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker.
Yeah, that's number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Nope. I was gonna confusing it with Nintendo 64 again. So Pokemon Snap's not one. Pokemon Stadium's not another one. Is there a Pokemon game in here?
There's not.
There
no
is
Pokemon.
not. Okay. Animal Crossing.
Yes, number 7.
All right. Super Mario Sunshine.
Number 3.
Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah,
In North America. Okay, so I don't have number 2 yet.
not number 2.
Smash Brother. No. GameCube games.
Think of like the heavy-hitting franchises.
Okay. Oh, Metroid Prime.
Number 6.
Great. Metroid Prime 2.
No, not on the list.
Great.
Do you want me to give them to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Number 1, Super Smash Brothers Melee. Number 2, Mario Kart Double Dash.
Of course.
Number 3, Super Mario Sunshine. Number 4, Zelda The Wind Waker. Number 5, Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Number 6, Metroid Prime. Number 7, Animal Crossing. Number 8, Sonic Adventure 2.
That is a little surprising.
9, Zelda Twilight Princess. And number 10, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door.
Okay, so Paper Mario I should have picked up on, and Twilight Princess, yeah, I guess I should have seen that coming.
I wouldn't have guessed The Thousand Year Door
Would have even shown
was
up
like
on
a
there.
bestseller. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for as cool of a platform as the GameCube is, I feel like there aren't a ton of games on it that we, really like remember and hold in high esteem today. And some of them, like with Twilight Princess, I need to be reminded that was a GameCube game. Like in my mind, it's a Wii game.
I mean, think of like Pikmin 2.
Yeah.
Little surprising that none of the Resident Evils made
You
it on
would
there.
think that 4 would have been on there, but I guess that's one of the reasons that Capcom was like, we are going to put this on everything because we didn't sell any on the GameCube. That's a good list. It's a good list of games. If Nintendo were to release a GameCube Classic Edition and put that thing out, people would buy it.
Yeah, I mean, those
those
10
games.
games would be a lot of game.
But what a weird Mario Kart and Smash are the only multiplayer games in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Sonic Adventure 2 a multiplayer game? Probably not, right?
We'll never know.
It's true. I could not care less.
All right, great. Mark, let's get out of the news. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, you can share it with your friends and your enemies. On Facebook, we are just Nintendo Cartridge Society. On Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you so much for listening.
Campfire.